All right, good morning, guys. Quick sound check. Happy Thursday here. Hope you guys are doing well. It was a nice, needed little break yesterday. I didn't even actually open charts until essentially this morning. I just checked quotes from my phone, and I was like, yeah, I'm not missing much here, so I'm okay with it. But as for today, I did drop a little morning write-up in the chat there, and we'll kind of see what wants to develop here. Oops, I guess I didn't send, I just sent that through. That was unfortunate. But yeah, at the moment, the main thing in which I'm going to be watching here is, I think this Dow. We'll see if Dow wants to do something here and maybe try and get up through this 53.010 and try and get that to run. NASDAQ might end up holding this 462s, which would be interesting if that happens. We got a nice mover out of Google too. I was looking at this in Google the other day. It's a really nice break in there. It's probably still got some legs to it. Overnight highs there, 379. 50s for Google. Yeah, gold kind of pushed down under that 39.92s there for a minute and now getting back above it. I don't know that I fully trust anything at the moment, but the gold little peekaboo down under there, I don't know if that warrants saying that the lows are in there at the moment. I don't think so. I'm also kind of waiting to see, maybe we can get S&Ps up over 76.16s. The main avoidance for me today is just if it's going to be choppy and sloppy, then I don't want to just put a position on and end up sitting in it for freaking 8 hours and then it goes nowhere. We saw some really a flip of what we have been seeing, right? NASDAQ was super weak yesterday at one point. Obviously Dow, S&Ps kind of started off strong there, kind of gave it up some. So I just want to see what that dynamic continues to look like today. We did just get a little pullback there to 53.010s here for the Dow. But we've got NASDAQ maybe wanting to push under this 462. Loaded up some Apex evals. Nice. Did you do that 50K trail for like 49 bucks? They were running that promo yesterday. You did? Nice. Nice. I think I actually have some I can probably give away. Oh. Dow making a little move lower there. Russell somehow making a push higher. Maybe Dow just did what it needed to there. I don't know. We got new lows there, trying to come back up here a little bit. He said dibs. Somehow you managed to win those fairly well. NASDAQ pushing down through this 462s. If we can reject on a retest here, I'm kind of open to a little NASDAQ short potentially. At the same time, I'm kind of conflicted because I like the Dow potentially for that long. Back up over 53,010s. Russell just pushed to a new high there. What's up, Christian? How's that baby doing, bro? Yeah, Joe's 100% looking for that short. We might see it here. See if we can't just close this out right here and get a retest. 6 weeks yesterday. That's crazy. That's crazy. I just saw pictures yesterday because my youngest turned 2 on Sunday. And so like all the timeline pictures have been popping back up from like a couple days after he was born and all that stuff. So I've been seeing all that stuff from when he was a day or two old over the last few days. That's crazy to think about. We got a Russell divergence, but I don't want to rule this thing out. That's a cute picture. He said, I can do it too. He'll be copying you soon enough in the gym, don't worry. This isn't quite how I wanted NASDAQ to look. Just with this rally like right back up there and test. Gold right back down on top of this 39.92s. I don't know that we can long this. I don't feel like we can. There's an idea here for a NASDAQ short. There's also an idea here for potentially a Dow / Russell long. And I don't really know that there's anything better than one or the other at the moment. That's a sneaky little test there, NASDAQ. Sneaky little test. Kind of wanted that on the next bar, not this current bar. Makes it a little bit more difficult now. NASDAQ lower. Kind of think the Dow rallies. I don't really want to do that while NASDAQ's doing what it's doing, but might not really have a choice. I'm going to try a small bit of Dow here. Interesting bar out of the NASDAQ there. If Dow can't push through this 53.010, then we might have to just cut this. I might cut this under like 975s here, which we're basically there. Yeah, I'll cut that for now. I thought we were going to push up through 53.010s. No dice on that. Quick turn back to a red bar there, now rejecting from it, so that's always fun. So if NASDAQ's gonna go lower, I still like the strength in the Russell. I think that's an interesting kind of look to it. We would just essentially have to wait until it gets up over 97.30s. Copy traders off. That sucks. Did you get it on that retest, or did you take the break under initially? I'm kind of annoyed it traded the way it did. Yeah, that was probably a good move. Dow coming right back up there. Do I trust you again? I don't even know that I should. I don't know if I should. I want to stalk the Russell, see if we can't get through 97.30s. Then I'm going to stalk the Dow still if we can get up over 53.010s. I don't love the idea that S&P's NASDAQ are weak. It's not like my favorite piece to this idea. But obviously if we can get through the levels, then there's something valid there. At the same time, NASDAQ shorts off 462s would be nice. And I wouldn't try fighting that at the moment by any means. So a little bit of conflicting kind of action there. NASDAQ currently pressing lows. Russell just made highs there right into 9730s. The Dow here now is trying to reclaim opening print, excuse me, and maybe this 53010s. I am going to try the Dow one more time here. Stops down under 75 again. And it might be a little early again, but we'll see here. 3 hours on the NASDAQ, yeah, nice. I can see Russell Dow making a pretty decent move to the upside here if they can get the move going. I got this hack and I cannot get rid of it again. The Dow is being obnoxious. I did say I was going to wait for this to get up over 53010s and then buy a pullback, which I didn't do. So kind of my own fault there. Yeah, gold trying. You are annoying me, Dow. You got to turn and pivot right here. Nope, that ain't it. Trying to get a breakout this week has been difficult. I went flat the Dow there. Well, 2 losses on the Dow to start the day is not the way I pictured that, but yeah, go walk that off. I might do the same, honestly, because this Dow is kind of obnoxious. Russell also kind of looking like maybe it wants to fail now. Yeah, I have a link with them. The coupon code is not MLT though. It's some weird random code that they gave me. They were kind of difficult to like work with, honestly, from like trying to get a code and stuff. And I'm not entirely sure why. Russell back up here to 97s. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're bad from a rules and a plan standpoint. I did actually look into a little bit of the alpha situation going on and kind of looked like, at least from what it seemed, that they're going to do the right thing and essentially make sure everybody gets paid out too. Any pending payouts and all that. No, I don't. Nope, I don't. Yeah, there's there you go. There's a link for funded next. Lucid's honestly one of my favorites. I think their back end, like user interface, like all this stuff is actually just really nice as well. Like I know that obviously doesn't change anything when it comes to like whether you can trade or not and get payouts and stuff like that from them, but I just think it makes for a really nice experience with them. Apple is running. I kind of wonder, it's what, Thursday? Let's take a look and see what Apple. Tomorrow's options expiration. Honestly, they're not that crazy. Like 345 calls for tomorrow are like 14 cents. Anybody think Apple goes to 350? Like, would that be a crazy ask? I kind of feel like that's not too crazy. Kind of crazy Apple's making this move with NASDAQ pushing lower like it is. I'm gonna do I'm gonna do a little lotto in Apple here. I like the strength in there. NASDAQ's kind of on lows. These 345 calls for tomorrow here are like 14 cents. Yeah, I get it. We're buying them like basically right at highs. I don't think that makes a difference if this thing makes the move. It's got to move like 20 points in order to make something work with it. Kind of get up towards 350s. But it's like pick them up for like 14, 13 cents, something like that. And maybe they turn into like $5. I'm kind of okay with that here with this breakout. So I picked up some of those. And again, totally fine if those go to zero. Like I'm not going to be upset by that. Kind of wondering if NASDAQ found a bit of a bottom there. We did just kind of pop down, get new lows there. I'm not really trying to buy a low in there today, but the main thing that I at least am able to potentially do here is going to be in the Russell. See if we can't get this to get up through 97.30s, which is kind of right where we're hanging out at now. I'm not willing to short the Russell. That's the strongest thing on the board. And it kind of acts like it wants to go get those 30.29s maybe. So if that's the case, I don't really want to like try and step in front of that. It's got a little bit more room than 30.29s. And if NASDAQ does find a bottom down here, which is an interesting little kind of divergence it just put in place, the daily, the weekly, all that, none of that supports on NASDAQ long here currently. Hence the reason I'm playing that more so with an Apple long as more of a lotto, sizing those for zero. But I see the possibility that maybe NASDAQ is trying to find that bottom. And I don't know what's causing this rally in Apple, but it's a fairly impressive rally. Nice little retest there of that 327s. We get to like 337s today, 338s, somewhere up in there, and kind of match the move from yesterday. I think we might actually be in the running for something there. I don't know. Let it do its thing. I don't know how y'all can stream with hundreds of people watching. It's simple. I just don't have hundreds of people watching. I got like 25 people watching. Much less stress. And I still took 2 losses in the Dow back to back this morning. That was fun. Yeah, I got the 345s. I'm just looking at like if we get to 350s, I mean 14 cents into $5. Like I'll take it. Yeah, I think the Russell wants to run. And I thought the Dow was going to kind of follow suit there. They were obviously acting as the stronger markets earlier here. We're about to crack yesterday's highs here in the Russell. I think now, potentially, if you wanted gold, it's not bad. It kind of pulled back above. That 15 doesn't look terrible in there. I could see that. I'm going to be interested here, I think, in the NASDAQ just by default. Again, the daily, weekly, none of that is like phenomenal for it. But if we do get back up above 462s, that opening print's 466, then I don't think we have a choice but to look for longs in there. And the idea being that we essentially try and rally back a portion of yesterday and maybe, just maybe, go for those 30-61s again and kind of finish out the week like that. There's still obviously a lot that has to happen for that, but like I said, I thought we were trying to find a bottom down there. So far, a pretty decent little rally off those lows, about 150 points now. There's a weird little divergence down there. Russell being that leader. I want to see that continue, though. Like, I don't want to see Russell just kind of get up here close to yesterday's highs and then falter and just send it back down to lows. Like, we need that. I think we need that that guiding light index, if you will, to kind of give us that move. And just so happens today, it might be the Russell. Yeah, I think it's possible they do. NASDAQ's divergence down there is kind of pretty. It's a little interesting, but pretty nonetheless. S&P's pushing there. Yeah, that would have been that second level in the day from yesterday. We're holding, making a move though, that's for sure. Oh wait. No, that is actually valid. I totally missed that this morning. I totally missed that. I like them into a level. Yeah, I didn't look at TradingView this morning. I probably should look at that and see if it was on there. Let me see. Is Russell breaking through there? Yesterday's highs. Oh yeah, it's on there too. 77 quarters. Darn it. That was super unfortunate. Yeah, I hadn't marked it from since I wasn't at the desk yesterday, and I completely overlooked that this morning. Yeah, test below and reclaim. Like the bars that go red initially to go down and grab the level, get beneath the level, and then come back up like little bottoming tails, kind of similar like Nasdaq with that divergence down there. Apple, on the other hand, said, "Nah, um, I'm good." Nasdaq rips up 225 points. Apple goes 3 points lower. Like what? You can't make that up. Hey, Nasdaq's potentially at a low. Let's find the strongest name on the board, and that's certainly going to just top out right here. That's cool. Makes sense. Like I said, I'm open to the idea of some Nasdaq potentially here now as we start pushing up through this 462s and opening print and all that. Let's see if we reject from it initially here. Russell, on the other hand, this thing might get the big break. Meanwhile, Dow is just stuck in the mud. Those like news highs from this week are 30, 29, 80s. It's kind of where I'm thinking that potentially goes. Dow starting to maybe come to the party now. 10-10. Yeah, if we can get a higher low over the level for Dow, I'm certainly down. Kind of same thing for NASDAQ potentially too. See if we can't push up just a little bit more and then pull back to test this 462 area. My test from it right now isn't terrible, but it's also not like my favorite. It would just be a really tight, like little 5-minute kind of retest after pushing through. It's also crazy because like earnings season is basically here. Which it makes some sense from the choppy action we have been seeing, assuming maybe some of that ends rather soon. NASDAQ trying to hold here a little bit. I still don't know if it's quite too early or not. That pullback was 447.50s. I'm going to try a little bit on NASDAQ. I'm a little late on the entry compared to what I wanted, but I'm going to use this first little 2-minute. I'm not full size on this. We've already taken the stop on the Dow. But stop loss down under 447, so basically call it like, I don't know, 444s, 445s, whatever it is. Let's see if we're able to hold here and get this 5-minute to push us up through high a day here. It's 532s and change. Give me the number. Thank you. And Dow pushing back lower there now. Nice little red bar there on NASDAQ. Let's see if we can't push through. I like the way this 5-minute kind of looks. Now 447s should hold us unless we're going to end up spending more time here and waiting around for the next 15-20 minutes on it. I'm kind of looking at this too as like, in the event that we do hold right here, and this has obviously been the wrong thinking from this week and as a whole, if we do hold and manage to kind of push up towards overnight highs, we really could see that push to 30,061. So it's like, yeah, we're taking a little bit more of an aggressive entry up here, but it's like we've got 40 points worth of risk on the table, and the possibility that it maybe wants to move like 600 points. You know what I mean? Like 580 points here from the entry. It's not impossible. And if we do finally get the S&Ps to make moves with it, if the Russell is the leader on the day, then maybe, just maybe, we get that move. But if S&Ps pop highs here, just like it did, Dow comes down, pops lows, and then we end up doing a whole lot of absolutely nothing, then we'll probably get trailed out on this. And again, I don't want a crazy amount of risk on for that. Which S&Ps currently are doing, so. Interesting little move there in gold. All right, NASDAQ. That low push 441s. I didn't actually see it, and now we're reclaiming. I still managed to hold on to that. It's probably an ad, honestly. NASDAQ can hold this. You can look at fresh longs or new longs here still. 441s, basically 50 points. 490s, 441s. I didn't have hard stops in there, but I was looking somewhere down there around like 443s. The other thing is we could still be waiting for the next 10 minutes for this thing to figure out exactly what it wants to do here. I'm going to have hard stops now in at 440s. If we come right back down to take that, it'll be kind of obnoxious. That is obnoxious. All right, close out the NASDAQ trade. Again, small size. A little less than 25% of normal position size. That is the only thing that is saving me at the moment. It's kind of obnoxious. NASDAQ goes lower now and Apple starts to rally. You can't make that up. What's up, derivative? Yeah, decent rally back for S&Ps. I'm kind of upset I didn't have that 77 quarters on there because I would have felt a little bit better about that NASDAQ divergence and everything down there. The Dow seems to be maybe trying to get a little something going back up here towards 53.010s. It's got 7 minutes to go. I don't think it can necessarily do it, but S&P's little pullback there. Dow is trying to get a bit of a rally up here. We got 3 minutes. I don't know if it can do it, but S&P is pushing new highs here now. NASDAQ kind of right back up into this 462s here. Dow might actually try and hold it. 2 minutes to go here. This looks like a pretty decent bottom. S&P is maybe going to try and push up and get through that 16 up there. 76, 16 quarters. NASDAQ did manage to hold here over these 462. So any retest, I like longs. Stops would be down here under like 397s. The Dow didn't quite hold. You might push up through that opening print now. Dow's going to try and get up through that 53,010. 53,009 so far. I'm starting to wonder if NASDAQ is even worth it. NASDAQ back up through 67s here, and I'm going to try along here in NASDAQ. I'm going to give it the full potential range for that stop. All the way down to those lows. The Dow traded 53,009s. Like, that's kind of obnoxious. Like, just get through there, and then we can maybe finally get something moving across the board. Nice little start there for the NASDAQ. I like that little bottoming tail it's kind of got going for it. See if we can't hold that and continue to push now. My goal is to essentially try and hold this for as long as possible. My assumption here is that the market has found a bottom in the NASDAQ today. We're now getting back over the level, over opening print, all the things, and then we can just run from there. However, if this one fails, then I will call it a day. That low is 59, 59. I've got the Dow, or not the Dow on, I've got the NASDAQ on. The Dow I kind of want, but it's also not doing the thing in which it should. A little push up there to 513s for NASDAQ. NASDAQ coming back down. Kind of looking like a little failure on the breakout now. We can take this off for basically even here. I'm thinking that's probably the move. I don't love the way that's developing here. I'm going to keep an eye on this under 440s, and I might go ahead and cut this thing early. I'm sized to give it all the way down here to like 395s. But if there's no reason to do that, if it gives us something to work with here to say, hey, I don't really think that this is going to happen, I'm not opposed to cutting it early here. Again, craziest thing, because Apple is now going back to highs. Meanwhile, NASDAQ is essentially failing this breakout. Russell Dow green bar here. I don't love that out of the NASDAQ. But if it can hold and reclaim the level, then I'm okay with it still. The Dow here maybe trying to get back to open. It's just such a big bar. We're in the Dow. We never traded that 53 127s. So there's legit like 120 points worth of room there. It was a little low here in NASDAQ at 426.50s there. I wish there was a little better way to play this Dow. There's 53.010s traded. Let's see what this can do. Maybe we get a spike back down here to 52.991s or something. Opening print. You trying the long? I want to push the button on the Dow, but I still just don't. I don't trust. We gave that attempt already today. Third time's probably the charm, but I've got that little bit of NASDAQ on. I'm just going to let that be. But I think Dow probably wants to make that push as well. The stop is just so wide. I can't justify that with the target there. NASDAQ might have another little trade in it here. See how we manage to hold this. NASDAQ's battling it out right here. A little pop up there to 479s. Dow's trying to come back to opening print now. I don't love it. I don't love it. This is that attempt you can potentially try and long, but if it doesn't work, then it's going to be annoying. We traded 992 there for the Dow. I think it probably works, but I'm just not gonna. That was a pullback to 991s. We traded 992s. Like, it's there. The risk reward is better now getting back over 53010s because you could use 990s as a stop. I'm not super interested in it at this point. Like, let's see if NASDAQ wants to try and make this push. Otherwise, I'm going to be looking to probably trim this thing a little bit early, like essentially somewhere around now. All right, I closed that NASDAQ a little bit early. Does not want to get that push up through the level in the open though. Dow is making that push though. It's just so annoying. Dow, you suck. You suck. There's a lot of room that the S&Ps could pull back to opening print. I say a lot of room, 12 points. But we also were just, a point and a half away from that 16 quarter level up there. There you go, Dow. Go do your thing. Nonsense. NASDAQ going lower, Dow going higher. Just a weird mixed bag of nonsense. I wouldn't say that if I'd actually taken the Dow. Index selection in this market is extremely important. And I think it's extremely difficult to pinpoint exactly which of the indices it's going to be. Like, we essentially did everything right there with the NASDAQ. Like, legitimately everything we could have asked for, hoped for. We had a divergence down there. We got back above the levels. We were holding open. We did the whole thing. And then Dow, which was doing none of those things, manages to come up and get a nice little breakout to the upside, while NASDAQ, the thing that was doing all the right things, goes lower now. Like, there's nothing you can do about that. Pass an eval without being a degen. Nice. What'd you take? So losing money in the market is just as hard as making it. Miscalculated my consistency, and I've been trying to lose $300 while scalping, and I keep making money. That's a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have. Here, let me help you. Do the opposite of what I do, okay? That has been the theme of the week. That's probably one of my least favorite rules in props is like consistency rules. It has been a tough week. It has been. Like, there is no denying that. Yeah, no, we will. We'll be fine. I mean, it's legitimately nothing that one or two good trades can't completely undo and fix. So from that standpoint, like I'm honestly not that worried about it. It's just been obnoxious, like action in general. You trade better with a consistency rule? That's interesting. That is interesting, actually. NASDAQ traded down there towards 362, is now getting a little bit of a bounce here. Yeah, no, I mean, today is essentially the start of earnings season, so I'm not too terribly surprised at some of this action, but I would have kind of thought that it would have been a little bit cleaner on some breakouts. What y'all have happen? Oh, Canadian wildfire smoke. Yeah, I just looked. That's crazy. Damn Canadians. Do we trust NASDAQ to go higher or no? Does it get up through this 462 and make a move or no? That I think is the question here. Russell came down 3001.60s there. Looks like that might have broke that little low from over there. It did, yeah. Yeah. We're stuck in this range nonsense. We got a little higher low right here, 2-minute chart for NASDAQ. That wouldn't be bad. I don't really know that I want to continue to do anything with it. Like, the Dow came down. Looks like we traded almost right to the level there. 0.11s. I don't know what to do with this here. Might just call it a day and walk away. I'm not super interested in the Dow long anymore, even though it looks like it probably wants to be the one to work. NASDAQ, no idea what it's doing here. S&Ps could probably come down and trade those that opening print 75.97 area. Wait till end of the day. For who? Which who'd you pass with? If it's lucid, you can activate same day. Yeah, 6. The Dow is obnoxious. I think I might just call it a day. NASDAQ taking out this little prior low down here at 362s. Just dipped down, traded 356s there. I don't know. I'm gonna take a walk for a minute. I'll be right back. Well, we basically went nowhere. Yeah, I've kind of thought the same thing for Netflix, actually. It's got a ton of room to move. I mean, it's basically been almost cut in half. 134 is here to like 73. I don't know. I know a handful of people that have actually canceled their memberships. Yeah, I know. Nasdaq's not. It's not looking great from a long perspective. It's true. I think what now you can pay like $7 or $8 a month again, and you get ads or something, right? Yeah, I was just looking at gold. That honestly might be the move for them. I don't know. Dangerous. S&P's not quite down here in the opening print yet. Nasdaq 2-minute acting like it might want to flip for a minute. It's a nice move there out of the NASDAQ from that little 2-minute. Nice move in gold there as well. Apple's actually trying to push a bit. If we can see NASDAQ get back over these 462s, I'm still open to it. I was kind of thinking we get a little bit more pullback there in the S&Ps to tag opening print, which would be basically right in the middle of like 20 points lower to 77s and like 20 points higher up to 16s. That's Dow making new highs on the day. I guess if we save this for next week, it's not terrible if the Dow gets over 53,127s next week. It's pretty much wide open for all the way up there to 638s. Like 500 points worth of room there. The topping tail is not great. Dow coming back down here to the level. New highs on the day for the Dow, right, and then right back down to the level. Does NASDAQ, does it go back? Traded down to 370s there. 1131. It is. It is indeed. That is for sure. Yeah, no, it's definitely different. I'm kind of thinking that like some of the best trades on the day have already passed. Like S&P's off 77 quarters, that NASDAQ divergence down there, or the S&P trade or the Dow trade, which ended up making a push to new highs there, was probably a good target. 53,127 still hasn't traded. Gold maybe off 92s wasn't terrible. It's obviously working. Apple's maybe gonna go get new highs here. Nice. Yeah, I don't know if I would press that tomorrow. There was potentially a nice short today in the NASDAQ from 462s, just not the way in which I really wanted to see it. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of contemplating that idea that the best trades of the day have probably already passed, and it's like, now what do we do with this? Like, is S&P's going to be able to get through 16s and try and make a move? Like, will the Dow pop up to 53 127s? Like, can NASDAQ get back over 462s? Or does it die and go lower? Like, I don't, I don't know. We do have single stock futures, the 20, was it the 27th? I'm assuming that yeah, they released July 27th. I'm assuming a lot of prop firms are gonna take them, like let you be able to trade them. That would be my guess. Let's see. That I don't know yet. I don't know what the ticker will be. I would assume that Tradeovate probably, or not Tradeovate, Tradeify ends up being one of the first. Just purely a guess on my part. I don't have any inside information on that. They're typically fairly solid on that type of stuff, though. There's Apple breaking the new highs. Meanwhile, NASDAQ is just right back to test opening print. NASDAQ rejecting off opening print. This might be that short that Joe was talking about earlier. It's a nice rejection there so far. Yeah, July 27th. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. $22 of the 55 will have micros. Nice. The only thing I wonder is like if it changes pricing and things like that from a prop standpoint. Like if they end up getting fleeced on people trading individual names, I wouldn't think that it should make that much of a difference overall, but it might. I mean, shit, like Apple from yesterday, right? Like one futures contract end up equivalent to, 100 shares of stock, right? So the move from yesterday, total range was, $11.41. So that's $1,140 on one single stock futures position. And you're talking about that being something that had very, very minimal risk, like $2-3 at most, right? Yeah, like I said, I don't know how that's going to work just yet, but I think it's going to be a good thing for us in general. Russell kind of coming down here now. Dow is getting back to this level. Meanwhile, Apple is pushing towards highs. Like, what are we doing here? Legitimately, what are we doing here? This is Russell back into 97.30. Dow is into opening print here. We were just shy of that 127 high up there. An RTY or a Dow long idea is not like the worst thing in the world here. We traded 97.40s there. '53, 127's above. I don't know that I love it with that Dow divergence from earlier. Yeah, there's definitely a big rotation across the board. Google had a really nice move yesterday. It doesn't look terrible. The Dow doesn't look terrible. Russell doesn't look bad either coming off that level there. Yeah, that's a little kind of shimmy there for a second. Apple making a move though. I kind of want to add a little bit more to that just because. I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I'm gonna show up just because we have options expiration, and I put that little position on an Apple, and maybe, just maybe, there's something to do, but Nasdaq looking like no. It's honestly kind of boring. We look like Nasdaq wants to go lower. There's room to those 29.034s. In front of Netflix earnings. Interesting move. Dow's trading those 990s again. Like I said, it kind of feels like opposite day here. Like I want to think maybe Nasdaq breaks down. But given the way that's been, maybe we just rally. I don't. Brain damage. Yeah, it kind of looks like that too. I want to give the Dow one more try here. We came down, we traded 986s there on that low. I'm going to trade this really, really tiny. The stop's under that low there, and just look to see if we can't hold this and try and rally one more time. There's no technical trigger here or anything just yet. I understand the rest of the markets don't look great. And if this doesn't work, then I am skedaddling on up out of here. Come on, Dow, you can do it. You can do it. Technical triggers would be up over 23s now. Total range on that bar is about 37 points, so call it 40 points worth of risk. 53,025s, that gives you 100 points to target at 53,127s with 40 points worth of risk. So it's like 2.5 Rs. Not the greatest. And it may not trigger. I'm struggling to want to take the shorts in the NASDAQ considering where the Dow's holding at and where Russell's holding at, which could be a mistake. And we'll find out here really quickly whether or not we're going to take this Dow off and move on with our day. Way about there. I don't think there's any trades this week that I wouldn't necessarily have taken again. Like there wasn't anything that was extra risky or not a valid setup or any of those things. They just honestly didn't work. Or we got shook out like a little too soon or whatever the case is. That's kind of what I'm thinking here with NASDAQ is that people might get kind of shaken into a short. All right, Dow, bye-bye. All right, well, no go on the Dow there. Russell still trying to hold that 97.30s at the moment, but no dice for me. 1204 here. I don't really see. I don't really see anything here. I guess if you did want to be short NASDAQ, technically you could be. Wouldn't blame you all that much on that. S&P's just cracked opening print there. Mm. 29034s maybe. Here we come. I don't know. I'm done for the day. I'll be here tomorrow, but I'm not entirely sure that I'm really going to do anything. I took yesterday off assuming that the action would be much of the same, and it kind of was. Anybody have any questions? No questions? I'm going to be a little perturbed if Dow is going to be the one to come down and take us out and then ends up holding here and gets back up over 53.10s. I think it's probably, I literally was talking about it, like, yeah, we were getting shimmied out right before moves, etc. Look at Bitcoin. Let's see. um, 3 weeks up here now. I don't know. I don't know what to do with it right here. I mean, if it breaks down under like 62s, you could probably look for shorts. On the other hand, if it breaks out, you probably got to wait for a pullback. Let's see if it actually is real about it. I don't know. I don't know that there's much to do with it. What were you thinking with it? Ethereum's a little bit stronger, but weaker overall, bigger picture. Yeah, I would agree with that a little bit. A little bit stronger over the last like couple weeks, but weaker, bigger picture, sure. Yeah, I don't know. Neither of them are like my favorite things on the board. I don't necessarily know that I have anything in the top spot at the moment. Nasdaq's got 300 points to go. I don't know if S&Ps feel the same way or not. Maybe they do. It kind of, if I had to, if we don't make it down to 29,034s, if I had to put a a guess or an idea around this, it would be that NASDAQ probably comes down, makes these new lows, which I'm going to go ahead and set an alert for just to have it on there, 255, 55 quarter. And if we can do that and somehow S&P has managed to hold and get back over the open and NASDAQ stops the downtrend, then I could see S&P is trying to pop back up to that 76.16s. Otherwise here, I just don't see what it is. Unless you're just trying to short NASDAQ and you think we get to 29,034s, which we certainly could. It would be kind of odd to see that we get absolutely smacked on options expiration too and see NASDAQ go a lot lower. At the moment though, that doesn't seem too far-fetched. See what SpaceX puts look like. Maybe we just do a lotto. I grabbed a couple of the SpaceX 120 puts for tomorrow. Let's see if that thing doesn't just completely die. I'm pretty sure they might have some flight test or some flights going on, some rocket launches tonight, maybe 16th. Let me see. SpaceX launches. Oh yeah, they do. Well, I got two tonight. One from Cali and one from Starbase, which I assume is the one in Texas. That's interesting. So if those don't go well, I kind of assume that, I mean, I think that at some point, and it might not be this week necessarily, but I think at some point SpaceX cracks $100 on its way to 75, basically. Yeah, SpaceX will be a $75 stock by next year. Yeah, I think it could inside of like that 6 month window. Honestly, I'm legitimately considering like an average price of either 69.69 and just putting bids in there and leaving it, or like 69.42, just for the pure sake of doing it. Like 135 or 165. I think it was supposed to be like 135. We opened at 150. Yeah. So I'm basing it on half of 150. IPO price was 135, so half of that would be $67.50, right in around that $69 number. Oh, give me just a minute. Yeah, so I think we make the move before. I think we make the move before then. Dow making new lows, NASDAQ about to. I'm flat and obviously I've closed out anyway to do anything here with it, and I'm not going to do anything with it, but so yeah. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and roll. And tomorrow, like I said, it's kind of up in the air at this point. We'll see what there is to do. We kind of had the right idea today in terms of a few ideas, just unable to really get follow through, which is, again, kind of the theme here. So, yeah. Anyways, that's all I see. I'm going to run, and like I said, we'll see what tomorrow brings. It's going to be options expiration, which will be kind of interesting. I don't remember the last time we had this much weakness going into OPEX. We also do have some earnings coming out after the bell. So maybe that plays a role, and we're able to do something with that from, like, maybe we get a gap up, and, you know, it comes down to, which, I mean, realistically, we have Netflix, Alcoa, Intuitive, so ISRG, and then we have a couple of bank names and stuff in the morning. So there's nothing crazy here. I think it'll really start to kind of ramp up next week. So that's kind of what I would like to save some powder for that. And then the following week, obviously, is the single stock futures get released. So that'll be interesting as well. But anyways, that's what I've got. And yeah, we'll see where this wants to go from there. But don't do anything dumb, and stay out of trouble here. We dabbled a little bit, nothing crazy, just not able to get anything to work. So it is what it is. But yeah, I'll check back in later today, and I will see you guys tomorrow. If you need me, obviously feel free to reach out. Code MLT at all your favorite prop firms, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.